Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the IWC Radio Podcast. Almost didn't get the transition there done in time. There we are. Joining me this evening, Chucks and Will. Will's still under the weather, but he's able to, I think, muster up the strength to be here this week.
I'm battling on.
Yeah, just things didn't come together last week. We were trying to get one going. I took a coma because I was really tired and exhausted from doing some errands and whatnot. And Will was under the weather. Beans was on the verge of falling asleep as well. So things just didn't culminate together.
I was fine. I should have done a one-man show and just ran through the whole thing.
Yeah.
One of these days, man. One of these days, you're all going to be fired. When I work out how to use OBS and YouTube, that's it for you guys.
Could be a one-man band.
Yeah. A one-man band, just me and Rhino. Why did he never get new music? That always confused me.
I don't know. I think they just didn't really care for him enough to give him new music, which is pretty bad. Considering the company's loaded with millions right now, you know? Yeah, we got a lot to discuss. We've got Hell in a Cell to talk about. We've got the draft to cover. We've got AEW Dynamite and doing their own thing, and a quick look for some of the new matches that have been announced for Crown Jewel, which is not this Thursday, but next Thursday on the WWE Network, live from that banned place you shouldn't say on television, Saudi Arabia.
You can say it now. It's allowed.
Oh, is it allowed?
It's allowed this year.
It's allowed this year. Okay, so no journalists have been brutally executed or anything like that.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so you can say Saudi Arabia. There you go. There you go.
Hulk Hogan still think it's in Crown Jewel.
The event itself is just called Crown Jewel Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're calling it Crown Jewel now and not like World Cup or Best in the World or whatever they were calling it before.
Well, they're using the music from Super Showdown last year for
they are actually.
The event this year, so maybe they'll have something new after Crown Jewel, I guess. Wait, is this the second one or the first one this year?
Saudi show.
Yeah.
Super Showdown.
Isn't it? Super Showdown, yeah.
Okay. All right. So after this one, I shouldn't have to worry about Saudi Arabia until after Mania.
No. Unless they decide to do another one in January.
Oh God, could they not?
It's all the money.
Yeah,
They've got another 50 million, then what are you going to do?
I don't know. 50 million is kind of hard to turn down for sure.
Oh yeah.
You'd have to be have some sort of iron morals or a billionaire to just turn down that kind of money.
I was going to say, you'd have to be like a Middle Eastern sheikh or something.
Yeah.
have to have oil money for that.
Yeah.
Turn that down.
Yeah. Should we get into the prediction game real quick and just knock this out, and we'll do the other stuff here?
Right, yeah. Last time we were all here, it was the night before Hell in a Cell. And if there was ever a time to use your phrasing, Smoot, crap in a box, this was peak level crap in a box.
Oh, that's right.
Ooh.
I mean, it was fine. I feel like the show was fine up until the end.
Well, yeah.
It was good at the start.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of okay in the middle. And, then the end happened.
Can't spell fiend without end.
It's true, actually.
Yeah.
Hadn't noticed that before,
yeah.
But that is true. Can't spell Seth Rollins without all in.
Oh!
I'm off to AEW. Right, so Natalya beat Lacey Evans by submission
Hang on,
in
there's
their
no
pre-show
A.
match. What's that?
There's no A.
No A.
Yeah.
All in. I'm pronouncing it all in.
Oh, okay. Good.
As in Rollins, all in.
All,
Going all in.
L, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
You
I
are
got
right,
it.
though. I mean,
I got
I
it.
am misspelling it.
Yeah.
Where was I? Natalya beat Lacey Evans. They had a pre-show match, and we all seem to think that Lacey was going to win. So that's a point only for Will.
Yeah.
Well done.
This didn't make much sense considering, Natty also beat her in a last man standing match on Raw, and then the week after that, they're buddies.
Yeah, we'll get to all
Yeah.
of that, but that is what happened. It made no sense at all. But there you go. So, main show opened with probably the match of the night. Probably. Becky Lynch beat Sasha Banks by submission in the Hell in a Cell for the Raw Women's title. That's a retain. And I know I got this one wrong. Let's see what happened. Yeah, I got it wrong. Beans got it wrong. You two get points.
Yeah.
So this is a great show for Will so far.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Will extending his lead, or his third place lead over me.
Third place lead.
Yeah,
Sure.
by about one there. Yep, so far.
I quite enjoyed this one. They had some creative stuff going on. Chair propped up in the corner with that drop kick and a few other things.
I wasn't crazy about the chair spot.
No, I could tell a lot of people would say that it was too much setting up and not very realistic.
Yeah.
I quite liked it. What the hell? It's pro wrestling.
I mean, of the two cell matches, it was definitely the better one.
Right.
So gotcha, easily.
You also had a camera mounted inside of the cell, so you didn't have to look and peer through the mesh.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where that camera was. Kind of cool.
You could kind of see it a little bit on the edge of a couple of shots. There was something there, but they obviously didn't shoot it.
When I first saw it, I thought they cut a hole in the cell somewhere.
Yeah, but, way up high.
But it made because the camera was there. I think it made the red cell not as annoying as last year.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's true.
I still wish they'd go back to the silver, but I think the red's here to stay.
Well, they painted it now. How are you going to get it?
Well, yeah.
Right. I'm just waiting for someone to climb through that hole, TNA style.
Oh god.
When they're going to use that hole in the mesh.
Oh no.
One day. Next up, the other highlight of the show, the Bludgeon Brothers. I can't imagine these two being in a match of the night contender, but they were. Ronan Harper unable to beat Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns despite a few pretty cool spots there on the tables on the outside. In the end, Bryan and Reigns hugging it out.
Yeah, they did. I completely forgot that they did this on SmackDown last night. We're like,
I still haven't seen
unlikely allies. I'm like, really? We're doing this again? Really?
Was he a face again now, Brian?
I guess so, yeah.
I thought this was going to be the match where he turns back. Whoa!
Yeah, sorry.
That was unexpected.
It's a Mountain Dew throwback.
Throwback. What's throwback about it?
They use real sugar instead of corn syrup.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's really cool. I'd like to try that. So this was a point only for Beans. We all thought the Bludgeon Brothers would be able to pull off the win here. I thought with Daniel Bryan's help, but nope. Turns out he's just a face again now.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, the whole angle of who was trying to kill Roman Reigns, it just kind of flopped. And, we never really, who drove the forklift? We know, Bryan, wasn't there backstage. We know that Rowan was the one that was trying to tip the boxes and kill Caleb Braxton. And, nobody, explained to us other than it was, a temp worker on Twitter from the WWE account telling us that, it was somebody new to the job of driving forklifts. So
What, they actually said that?
they actually did say that, yeah.
That the other guy was like, they actually knew who it was, but they just didn't care?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll
Just
see
say
if
it was Luke Harper.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do.
Or say it was the other guy who looks just like Eric Rowan.
Yeah, I guess that works too, yeah.
Whatever happened to that guy? Still haven't explained what happened to that. What happened in that room? They unmasked him, everyone just looked at each other, and then that was it.
Yeah, and just pretty much, like, this explains why, you know, Eric Bischoff lost his job or whatever.
Yeah, that's all the news. Good match anyway. Good tag match. Beans gets a point. Boo.
It looks like you won't be seeing Luke Harper again. He literally brought him back for this match.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. We'll get to the drafts in a bit.
Yeah.
But, that could be it.
Yeah, this is what they posted on Twitter. Update has now been determined that the incident in question was specifically caused by a forklift driver error. Update, at this point, the identity of the forklift driver has not been determined. Update, upon further investigation, a forklift operator last Tuesday on SmackDown Live was a temp and not a WWE employee. As part of an ongoing investigation into the SmackDown Live incident involving Roman Reigns, it has been discovered that the WWE's regular forklift operator has taken the day off from work due to illness. Yeah, that's what they posted on Twitter. For the record.
Wow.
Yeah. That was the whole, like, who's the white Hummer driver? You know, like...
Yeah.
So that's really convenient if a temp forklift driver made a mistake and tipped some boxes onto Roman Reigns at the exact same time that Eric Rowan was tipping boxes from the other side.
Yeah.
And that seems unlikely to me.
This is why Eric Bischoff is out of his job, for the record. Just throw that out there.
I guess.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, right. So then we had an impromptu match here. We had no idea about beforehand. Randy Orton beat Ali, and luckily we were all able to get predictions in before watching.
What did Will predict? Because I didn't get it.
Will predicted Ali. It was actually after the show, but before he watched it. And because he got it wrong, I decided I'd accept that.
Of course.
If it was after the show when he predicted right, then that's suspicious. But because he got it wrong, I was like, I believe him then.
Of course.
Yeah.
Unlike Beans, I generally woke up for that morning, going to work, and I saw they added that match, and I thought, well, I'll send it anyway.
Yeah. So that was my first point of the show. Bean's got another one. He's running away with it.
Well.
No, not really. Okay. Yeah, Randy Orton beats Ali. Fairly good finish. Ali countered the RKO with like a handstand and then just took another one anyway. Kind of Royal Rumble logic where Kofi makes an impressive save and just gets thrown out straight after. Yeah, okay match there. Filled some time.
Yeah, that was decent.
Win for Randy Orton.
Ali should have gotten the win for countering the RKO the way they did.
Yeah, it was pretty good though.
But no,
yeah,
gotta let the vet go over.
Give him a win after losing to Kofi.
Mm-hmm.
Twice? No, one of them just got thrown out. Yeah, whatever. Kabuki Warriors, who are now heels. Who knew?
Yeah.
They beat Alexa and Nikki for the women's tag titles. So that is a point for nobody.
Yeah.
No one at all.
The old poison mist.
The poison mist, yeah. So, what happened here?
Poison mist. Nobody expected to see somebody spit on Alexa with the green poison stuff, and Kabuki Warriors became champions.
Wasn't the whole storyline with Alexa and Nikki that Alexa was using Nikki?
Yeah.
that Alexa was still a heel and was using a naive
Yeah.
partner to,
Yeah.
take matches and whatever for it. So Alexa's a heel, even though she's pretending not to be.
Right.
And Nikki is a kind of reluctant heel going along with it.
Right.
Asuka and Kairi, big faces. Everyone loves those two.
Yep.
So
Turning bad
now
guy.
they're the heels, and we're supposed to cheer Alexa.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's that kind of logic that made Raw draft Bliss and Cross separately instead of a tag team.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's another thing.
I know. We'll get to that.
It gets even worse from there as well. So then, Viking Raiders and their mystery partner was not Cedric Alexander. I thought the OC, AJ feuding with Cedric, that would be the obvious one. But no, Viking Raiders and Braun Strowman. Actually, not a bad partner for the Viking Raiders. Fit quite well. They beat the OC,
Yeah.
AJ Gallows and Anderson, only by DQ though.
We predicted it. We predict the winning name here on the show. Yeah, we got to make the OC look good. So, and also,
They didn't look that great.
yeah, I know. Mainly because they didn't have Strowman come out in one of those Viking helmets.
They should have.
Yeah, that would have been great. If they can find a spare vest for Kurt Angle to be part of the Shield, you can find a Viking
Right.
helmet for Braun Strowman. I'm just saying.
So this is one of those weird DQs where the match is called off and they keep fighting. Braun Strowman lays AJ Styles out with a big punch.
Yeah.
And that couldn't have been the finish.
Nope.
Strowman won the match by DQ, laid the guy out at the end, and they couldn't. That wasn't good enough to beat. Why?
I have no idea. See, it's logic like that that made Eric Bischoff fired from his job.
So I like your consistency.
Thank you. I don't know how
And I'm
true that
hoping-
is, for the record. I don't know what he did.
Yeah, keep throwing that disclaimer in every time. I really hope that this means then that now he's gone, everything will now make sense.
No. It's
For
not.
like the 6 weeks that he had a job for,
Yeah.
that's why everything's been crap. And now, new glory days. The new boom period is coming. Well, we'll see.
There was that one report that wanted, that Fox wanted Heyman instead of Bischoff, I believe.
Yeah.
I remember that. I wonder how much of that played into the firing, if you will.
Well, apparently he didn't know anything.
Well, he apparently did nothing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just show up and cater.
The
Shut up and
story
cater
was
it.
you couldn't contact him until after 7 o'clock
Weird.
in the
Well, no,
evening.
it was the opposite. You couldn't contact him after 7, and Vince obviously wants contact with his guys 24 hours.
Yeah.
But he said, this is the end of my day. I'm now going to go and have dinner with my wife and, have a life.
Yeah.
And that doesn't go over so well.
Nope.
He actually had an end of the shift. No, you're not going to survive long.
And he didn't have any knowledge of wrestling, today's wrestling anyway.
It's funny
Didn't
because,
know.
I watched TNA, and I could have told you that. It's weird. It's like Vince's thing that you have to go back to what worked.
Yeah.
Eric Bischoff was a name. He had success in '95. Let's just do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chad Gable finally gets a win over King Corbin,
Thank you for calling
although
him by
he'll
his,
probably wish he didn't.
Yeah. Thank you for calling him by his proper name, by the way.
Well, he was. I think he was
Chad
still
Gable?
Chad Gable at this point, wasn't he?
Yes.
Right. So I'm chronologically speaking, Chad Gable beat King Corbin. On SmackDown, things happen, but this match was it's 13. I was going to say it was short, but it
Ah,
was,
Oh, God.
come on.
Point for Smoot, point for Beans. Me and Will thought Corbin was going to get his win, but no. Came up short.
Ah!
Yeah.
He's only 5'8". That's not short.
5'8".
Still funny.
I hate it. Anyway, keep going.
Anyway, we're nearly there. Charlotte beat Bailey by
right,
submission.
Hell yeah.
She did. And that was a point for Smoot. Only Smoot. For some reason, we all thought Bailey would retain. And this is another one that makes me think that they don't know what they're doing.
Oh.
Charlotte wins the SmackDown Women's title, then has to lose it on SmackDown because she's going to Raw.
Gotta build that title count up.
Mm.
Get up to 16 while Ric Flair's still alive, you know?
Oh, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, I won't say it.
Was that too morbid? I'm sorry.
Match was fine, but nothing too special.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then, speaking of nothing too special, the main event of the evening.
Well, I don't know. This was kind of special.
Special in its own way.
This is very different. This is something you're not going to see again, hopefully.
I don't know about that. I mean, a Hell in a Cell match with no contest at the end? I'm pretty sure we saw that last year.
Did we? We saw a no contest last year.
I think it was, yeah, hold on. Hell in a Cell 2018.
I got it here. We had Hell in a Cell, Randy Orton beat Jeff Hardy. And then we had Hell in a Cell. Yeah, Reigns and Strowman ended in a no contest.
Yeah. With Mick Foley as
How
a special
did that
guest.
happen?
Yeah. Mick Foley as a special guest referee and Strowman with the Money in the Bank cash-in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Reigns, all Foley had to do as a special guest referee was count the pinfall on Reigns. As it turned out, the conclusion to the main event of Hell in a Cell wasn't so simple, as the arrival of several superstars and the sudden reappearance of Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he kicked the
Brought them
door
back
off.
to...
I forgot about
Who
that.
was several superstars. Who was that?
Oh yeah, it was Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins ran interference. And also Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre.
Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre
Yeah.
attempted to force their way into the cell. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins ran interference. Oh yeah, they all went up the top. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brock Lesnar showed up, kicked the door down, beat them up, smashed them with a table, and then they called off the match. What the hell? And they didn't learn.
Yeah.
They didn't learn a thing.
Nope.
Okay, so this one was... It was crazy. We had Sin Cara lighting the whole time. Everything was red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt's entrance was awesome. And I wish I'd just turned off there. This is weird because I appreciate what... I mean, I don't know. I guess someone decided to try something different. So that's cool. This was the least WWE match you'll ever see. Even by, like, Brock Lesnar finisher spam standards. This was like a new level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it 11, I think, curb stomps? He hit a pedigree, and even that didn't work. I mean, imagine. The pedigree. Hit him with a load of things, all the weapons under the ring. Wyatt just laid there, kicked out on one. That was hilarious. At that point, I was thinking, this is too many curb stomps. This is ridiculous. You don't get this in like a video game. They're just making a mockery. Like, how do you even say it? They like shattered kayfabe completely.
Yeah.
To the point where this is like they're not even pretending anymore. This is just stupid for the sake of stupid.
Mhm.
Just too much. Just blowing up the whole idea of pro wrestling. Just keep doing the thing. And then he kicked out on one. This is actually just funny now. Actually, this is like good comedy now. It's so ridiculous. And then the referee called it off when Seth Rollins got the sledgehammer out. Referee told him, Colby, no, this isn't you.
Huh.
He's using the shoot name. You're gonna kill him. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, apparently it's one of the first things. Colby, this isn't you. Don't do this. He did it anyway. Swung the sledgehammer like you're supposed to swing a sledgehammer, not the little jab with the the hand over the end.
Yeah.
Triple H always does. So that was, I kind of like that one too. Seth Rollins couldn't get it done as Seth Rollins, so he hit the pedigree and got the sledgehammer out. Unleashed his inner Triple H. That's kind of cool. But explain for me, one of you guys, just you're sensible people.
Yeah.
The sledgehammer was too much, right?
Right.
The sledgehammer was a referee stoppage. He couldn't. That's more than can be allowed in a Hell in a Cell.
Right.
Just too far. But Bray Wyatt's giant hammer, that's fine.
The comically large Gallagher hammer. Yeah, like he was gonna hit a watermelon for the front row.
Right. No problem there.
Yeah. Maybe the referee just didn't like hammers. So that was one hammer too many for the match.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of hammer today.
Yeah.
Even a small one now.
That's too much. I don't know. The whole thing was really stupid, the way that it ended up. Obviously, they needed some sort of an out to have Rollins as champ, but also him to I guess win the match as well, but make the Fiend still look strong somehow coming out of it. Like it was absolutely bogus. And then like the following night on Raw, it was barely even acknowledged up until like the third hour of what happened at Hell in a Cell.
That had to have been a last minute change, because generally the show after a pay-per-view, the champion or the main event winner will come out and brag, or the loser will demand a rematch or whatever. This one, it was just, as you say, nothing mentioned at all until like a little recap right at the end of the show.
Yeah. It was just, I don't know. It seemed like I just didn't see. Why would you book that type of a finish? Like, you have to know how a Hell in a Cell match goes. Like, this is a structure that's supposed to like have some sort of final result. You can't just cliffhang it.
Yeah.
Like, it just even Foley and Undertaker, even when like Undertaker like practically killed Mick Foley by tossing him off the side of the cell, would that have ended in a ref stoppage back then? No.
Well, they tried.
They tried, but Mick Foley.
They tried, and Foley wouldn't have it.
Yeah. Like,
Which they did here as well. He did the referee stoppage, and then Wyatt got up anyway and started doing the mandible claw and the blood coming out of the mouth and stuff.
Yeah, it made no sense.
Like, again, just like in the six-man, you end the match with some stupid decision that makes no sense at all. Carry on fighting anyway and have the guy go over.
Right.
According to your boy Dave, Chucks,
yeah,
the original finish was not too dissimilar from Taker Mankind. Apparently, they were doing well. No, the original finish with Wyatt would take a bump off the top.
Oh.
And wouldn't be able to continue, and the match would be stopped. And then after that, he'd pop up and give Rollins the mandible claw.
All right,
which sounds 10 times better than what we got.
If they would have done that, you probably still would have had backlash from the fans, but
think so.
It wouldn't have been as bad. Yeah, because they would draw the comparison to Foley and just be like, "Hey, this wasn't a fucking stoppage back then. Why would you stop the match?"
Yeah.
And especially
Yeah,
especially if he was able to get back up and like still
Right.
be motionable. They would have to do like the 3-arm thing. Like they would drop the 3 arms and like, oh, he's out. Ring the bell, you know. If they did that, that would have been okay. But then if the person would have gotten up after the 3-arm thing, then it would have been stupid.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. If you're gonna take him out,
Yeah.
that's fine. If you play up that he is severely injured,
Right.
then okay, you call the match off. If he can get up again, it's obviously not so bad. It might be one too many cell jumps though.
Yeah.
We do see that quite a lot. Although this is one too many referee stoppages in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Whatever, I guess. God, this was a thing. So yeah, I want to give credit where it's due, but also, what can you do when the good is really good and the bad is this bad?
Yeah.
I don't
And
know,
honestly,
it's really worth it.
To me, when the refs stopped the match, it seemed like it was a disqualification. That was the other thing too.
It did. They didn't say anything.
They didn't say anything.
So everyone thought it was a DQ, including X-Pac.
Right. Oh yeah, on Watch Along.
That was great.
That was great. You know, I'm sorry if I'm not invited to another one of these, but how the hell do you have a DQ in a Hell in a Cell match? He's right.
I mean,
hard to argue that.
Yeah, he knows exactly what he's talking about. So that one, no points. We all thought Fiend would win.
Yeah.
And I had to referee stoppage. I guess Rollins wins by referee stoppage.
I think I was going to go with like a no contest as a joke on this, but I don't.
I'd have given that.
I think next year I probably will. I'll do it. I don't care where I am. Main event, referee stoppage, no contest.
They've got it listed on the website as the match ended in a referee stoppage. Right. They don't clarify a winner.
Nope.
But the difference between a referee stoppage and a no contest is that one guy kicks too much ass, right? That he wins almost like by knockout.
Wikipedia.
So surely Rollins won.
It just says Wikipedia says it ended in referee stoppage, no winner declared.
Yeah, and so does the WWE.com. So, well. Clearly sensing that a line was about to be crossed. Referee tried to stop Rollins from using that.
Oh my god! The fact that
it's crossing the line
and crossing the line. Yeah, it's just
so
the fact that Rollins, after the referee stoppage, as you said, got into the mandible claw because Wyatt was still able to continue. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. That's very true.
And going off of the other finish with the falling off the side of the cell, if they would have called that a referee stoppage, I don't think you would have your fan base chanting AEW and restart the match. Maybe restart the match, but definitely not AEW.
Yeah.
They were already really booing Rollins with by about the 4th curb stomp. It's like this is too much.
Yeah,
we don't want to see this. This is ridiculous.
It was John Cena levels of bullshit. Like that's what it was.
It was kind of even beyond that.
Yeah.
It was like we've come here to pretend that this is real, and come on. So this is what happens when you put yourself into a corner. Yeah. Obviously, they don't want Wyatt winning the belt.
I don't know why.
But he can't lose in his second match, his first real, big
but he
time
did
match.
Technically because he looked like a pile of shit.
Well, I guess that's why they're saying that it's not a Rollins win. They're just saying the match ended in a referee stoppage.
Which
and they keep
leads to a
doing it.
Rematch. Yeah.
Which leads to where they're going to have the same problem. Yeah. It's going to be a falls count anywhere. Where
somebody's going to die because it's in Saudi Arabia, and they can't stop the match because of it.
Well, they can't stop the match because the falls count anywhere. What can you do?
You haven't seen SmackDown, right?
No, not yet.
They've literally said that the match cannot be stopped.
What, even when someone wins?
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. didn't even think about that. I guess the match just continues endlessly.
Wait,
And
Yeah.
this is a match no one chanted fight forever.
Yeah, I just threw it up on the stream. Yeah, they announced this last night. Universal Championship, Falls Count Anywhere, can't be stopped for any reason.
Oh. Is the Universal title now the 24/7 title?
Oh, God. Can't be stopped for any.
Yeah.
Like a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
Mm.
I wonder if they're going to amend that to just be like, other than like the referee's 10 count or something.
No, it's just me being.
But I do like that. The match just constantly keeps going now.
I've counted the 3, but can't end for any reason. Fight forever.
Well, there's going to be some sort of shenanigans in, isn't there? He's going to disappear or something.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot of House of Horrors kind of stuff going on.
Well, it would have to continue. Like, it would continue on SmackDown then. Wouldn't that be great? Wyatt just has a referee, clobbers Rollins from behind, and just makes him count.
This giant mallet.
Yeah. that thing never even got used in the match. That's the other, like, crazy thing about it.
He kind of jabbed him with it, didn't he? And the commentator said he's trying to impale him on a mallet.
Yeah.
Not how mallets work.
Oh.
They seem to keep doing this. They book themselves these Hell in a Cell matches and they never want to do a finish.
Right. And it makes you just wonder why they booked the match in the first place if they're not going to have a conclusion. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's no points for anyone because it was a stupid finish.
Yeah.
Just to throw a spanner in the works, and I'm going to get to the draft in a minute.
No, not a spanner as well.
Isn't Seth Rollins on Raw now?
Yes. Rollins is, he was before, he's always on Raw. Wyatt has been SmackDown.
He's been drafted to SmackDown.
So yeah, if he wins, then he takes the belt with him.
But what about The Fiend? Where's he drafted? Is he a free agent? Think about that, did you? Huh?
Well, Wyatt does seem to think that the Fiend isn't him.
Yeah.
Talks about him in like the third person.
Different entity, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out. But on this show, 9 matches predicted, and me and Will got an impressive 2 points. 2 points. Smoot and Beans running away with it with 4 out of 9. Yeah. So this was that kind of show. Which means overall, I really need to make up some ground.
I'm 10 behind Chucks. I'm 10 behind Chucks.
Yes.
I'm narrowing the gap.
Will is in 4th with 40, Smoot just ahead 41, and then 10 points, I'm on 51. Beans extends his lead back to 4, he's on 55 out of 73 overall. But we've got a long way to go.
Yeah, there's
still a lot more pay-per-views.
We've got Crown Jewel predicting next weekend, and as you saw, the main event being a Falls Count Anywhere. Match can't be stopped for any reason, so...
Yeah.
I honestly can't wait to see how they get, like, the fans pissed off over Saudi Arabia because of that. With whatever
it's got to be the Saudi fans anyway. They don't know what's going on. They never react to anything.
They'll just be sitting there playing with the phones.
Yeah. Also, on Crown Jewel, I guess we'll talk about this now, because I don't know where else it fits in. Seth Rollins was the captain of Team Hogan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now he's been pulled from that because of this rematch.
Yes, and now Roman Reigns is the new team captain.
Yeah.
So, yay. That seemed like it was like a booking on the fly type of moment. Because like they announced the matches. Does. Yeah, all of it does. But like when they announced the matches for Crown Jewel like 2 weeks ago, it seemed like they didn't even realize that Rollins was part of the literal Survivor Series match in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have. I gotta see if there's any sort of updated match card on the Twitter.
And we're getting what's the guy
Mansoor.
That's it.
Mansoor. He's wrestling Cesaro. Speaking of Cesaro, we should probably get to the draft. Before we do that.
Oh,
there you go.
Before we get to the draft, actually, I meant to pick it up when you mentioned the Kabuki Warriors.
Oh yeah.
What about
the promo on Raw where they spoke Japanese? Did anyone catch the translation of that?
No.
It was a lot of, we're better than you, all that kind of nonsense. But the last line was quite funny. Someone's translated it, but Carrie Shane said, "Everything you said is spot on, Asuka, Charlotte, Becky. I'm sure you are tired, but we are going to beat the shit out of you." That was quite funny.
She's too cute for that language.
That's how you get around PG. Just do it in another language.
I've always wondered about that. In, I don't know, it's maybe 2000 or maybe 01, somewhere around like at not Attitude Era, like Invasion Era. I saw a Tajiri promo where something got bleeped. He was talking in Japanese, and something was censored on the Sky One recap. So I don't know if he said something like swore in Japanese, or if he said a word in Japanese that sounded like something else. That I had no idea. I've never known how they'd handle it. But I know in New Japan, a lot of the English guys swear all the time in their promos because I guess they can.
Yeah, I suppose it doesn't really resonate, does it?
Right. So let's do this draft thing.
Yay, let's do the draft.
Let's do the draft. It was weird. They had Fox and USA executives in very fake-looking meeting rooms.
Yeah.
I have to laugh at the NFL guy in the robot.
The robot, yeah.
Cletus the bot.
And there was one guy, I guess, was it the Fox one? Yeah, it must have been the other one. Who, for 2 nights, was watching a video of a peacock.
Yeah, on the laptop. Oh.
So was that like an NBC reference or something?
It had to have been. It had to have been.
Just watching a peacock.
I just thought he was having a Skype conversation with a peacock.
That would be much funnier, actually.
Probably the best kind of cock you'll see on Omegle.
Wow.
Yeah. Omegle. So we've got. I won't bother running down the whole thing, but interesting facts here from night 1 of the draft on SmackDown is that all but, 5, so there were 20 drafts overall, and 15 of them were drafting formerly Raw guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that shows you who the priority, who had the priority wrestlers beforehand.
Did you see the amazing mess they made of putting them on the website?
No, what happened on the website?
Supposedly, they listed off all the names, but for the first couple of rounds, it was in the same order that they had listed, on the website.
If you, don't know if you can throw this link up, Schmidt.
Yeah, I can.
If I can find my window. Bear with me.
So apparently the one change, at least early on, I think Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were together on the list, but they drafted them separately. Yeah. I don't know why. That was a free pick. Raw then picked Nikki Cross later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why? This makes no sense. And then, after getting them both anyway and costing themselves a pick, they then just traded them back to SmackDown.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this on Backstage. They drafted them back to SmackDown for no one.
For nothing, yeah.
Apparently it's in exchange for future considerations.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean? Future considerations.
So
Future considerations paid for by the following.
That list you can see on the stream now. I'm in the process of starting up a best on new site.
Oh yeah.
And we basically took that list from WWE.com on the day before the draft. It's still there now, obviously, so we haven't changed it. But the list of the first ones on the SmackDown side was literally as they announced it.
Yeah.
That was taken from the site the day before. So they didn't realise what they'd done and put the list up again in alphabetical order.
Yeah, so right down to the Viking Raiders, it's exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
No, Lacey Evans. Then it jumped to Viking Raiders. Yeah, it's not great. So
the whole
they
thing
had.
mess.
It was a total mess. They had, I think it was it 30 guys on the SmackDown pool? They drafted 20. Well, they ended up with a few left over. Apollo Crews and B Team and EC3 and that they went. But then they left out completely Cesaro, Akira Tozawa, Chad Gable, and who was the other one? Humberto Carrillo.
Yeah.
4 guys who were supposed to be drafted, just one. Don't know why. Not even after. That's Shorty Gable, sorry, not Chad Gable.
Right. Yeah, chronologically.
Shorty Gable.
Not
Yeah,
Shorty
because
G.
he is now Shorty Gable officially.
He's not. Shorty G.
Shorty G, yeah, because it's SmackDown. He's like, let's just shorten that up. I'm Shorty G now. Yeah.
Shorty Gable's not short enough, yes.
Shorty G.
It's going to be his gimmick. They have to keep shortening everything. Fine, I guess. Right, then we had on the Raw side, let's see here. They also drafted guys that weren't on their draft pool. So 3 of those guys, Tozawa, Carrillo, and Gable, were all drafted on Raw when they weren't supposed to be. Cesaro's still not.
Yeah.
And then a few were left over afterwards. There was also a load of guys on the WWE.com roster page who just didn't make it at all.
Right.
The Ascension, the Colognes, Ember Moon. Like, why is Ember Moon not on there? Obviously the Hardys. Lars Sullivan, Micah Maria Kanellis, Naomi, Nia Jax, Paige, Ruby Riott, Sheamus, the Usos. The Usos, I think, because of the DUI, have been taken off the road.
Mm-hmm.
Probably for the best.
See what you did there.
I did there. So after everything, there's not actually that many changes that have been made. Most of a little over half of the guys just stayed where they are anyway. And the ones who did move, not huge names. The big ones, I guess, Raw to SmackDown, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, Brock Lesnar. Those are big ones. King Corbin, I guess, is a semi-big deal. SmackDown to Raw, we've got Aleister Black, Andrade, Charlotte, Eric Rowan. I don't know what he's going to do. Kevin Owens. Randy Orton, I suppose he's a big deal. Rusev. He was on Raw anyway. Made it official. Yeah, that's about it. Street Profits are now officially on Raw. And apparently a lot of the Raw picks, the kind of the weirder ones, Buddy Murphy and Akira Tozawa and, the kind of stranger ones like that, are apparently Heyman guys. Heyman wants to make something of a few of these cruiserweights.
Good.
Yeah.
Assuming, yeah, Vince will let him. That's the other thing.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Let me see here. Yeah, just the draft overall was a complete shit show. I also didn't like for the fact that night 2, the champions, like the main champions, were eligible to be drafted. Somebody said that they were only available to be drafted on like the second night, which is absolutely stupid, if you ask me. Like,
well, they just split the whole roster up into 2 pools, so they happen to be in that pool.
That's dumb.
Well, what is kind of dumb is that you have branded titles now that could be drafted to the wrong shows.
Right.
Yeah.
And fortunately, they weren't. I mean, it's lucky that Rude and Ziggler lost the Raw tag titles
Thank God
on the night that they were drafted to SmackDown.
Yeah.
That all happened very conveniently.
Well, didn't the commentators on Raw didn't know what the situation was with the women's tag belts?
Yeah, well, apparently they still go between shows.
Well, yeah, they said that, and then I think it was that Dio Madden said, "Oh, they're not going to be on Raw," and then they got corrected about 4 times. So they don't even know. They generally don't know what they're doing themselves.
No, I believe it. Apparently, 24/7 title is now Raw exclusive.
Yeah, apparently USA wanted that because it was their idea.
Yeah. So that's why R-Truth is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. R-Truth is there, but Carmella had to stay on SmackDown because that's where Corey Graves is.
Yeah, and those two are an item now.
Yeah, and what was the other one like that? Aleister Black came to Raw, so that means his wife, Zelina Vega, had to come to Raw, which meant that Andrade had to come to Raw. And Charlotte obviously married to Andrade, so the 4 of them had to be together as well.
Yeah. Oh, so dumb.
Well, no one seems to realize as well that the Revival were Raw guys with the SmackDown tag titles. So they have now officially been moved to SmackDown. But I'm thinking like our official Wrestling Observer guys, they're talking about this stuff, and lucky the Revival stayed on SmackDown and that kind of. No, they were drafted. They were actually Raw guys. They had the wrong titles. Nikki Cross was on SmackDown.
Yes.
While Alexa was on Raw.
Yeah.
They were the tag titles.
There's no way they're keeping the brand separate. I can already say that right
now. I hope they do. I really hope they do.
They're trying. I don't want to say their hardest, but like they're slightly trying to keep them separate, and I don't think it's going to last. I would say 2 months, if that, and I'm being generous.
Well, it's definitely not going to last. I mean, Crown Jewel is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already know that that's happening.
It's Saudi Arabia, guys. It's on the network. It doesn't count.
The one night a year.
One
on SmackDown go head to head.
That's Survivor Series.
In the literal Survivor Series in Saudi Arabia. Which, speaking of, by the way, according to the WWE.com website, there has been a couple of adjustments since SmackDown where Ali, Shorty G, Ricochet, Rusev, and Roman Reigns are on Team Hogan. Team Flair has Orton, King Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Also, in the largest tag team turmoil match in the history of WWE, they're still using the mustached Bobby Roode on the website, even though they updated the graphic.
Yeah,
which is
mustached Bobby Roode is best Bobby Roode, though.
That is true. That is very true, but just a little update on that right there.
Where did EC3 end up?
I think on Raw.
He is now on SmackDown, I thought.
Not that I'll ever be seen, but just interested to know where he is.
He could still be a free agent too. Keep that in mind.
No, he definitely got picked. He was picked after Raw, I think. No, after SmackDown, after the first one. He was on Raw. He stayed on Raw. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Eric Young too. He was on Raw, but Cesaro didn't get picked. EC3 and Eric Young got drafted. Cesaro didn't get drafted.
Yeah,
What the hell did that guy do?
That's fucking wild. Seriously.
And yet, you'd think, okay, maybe they forgot about him, or they don't really realise he's in a pay-per-view match at Crown Jewel.
To lose.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. To Mansoor.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a disease, if you ask me, like Liverpool.
Alright.
Sorry, this is just a reference to that Vince promo. Should we briefly talk about AEW a little bit?
Yeah, what's happened
there? Jericho's now in a circle. The inner circle.
Inner circle.
Which was pretty cool. He surrounded himself with, what was it, LAX? That they're not calling LAX. It's like Ortiz and somebody else. I don't remember their names.
Santana.
That's it, yeah.
Not Carlos Santana.
Right. That's why I always forget, because I'm thinking Carlos Santana. I'm like, no, that's not it.
It's not that guy.
It's not that guy.
Didn't I should see a tweet? Didn't Jericho have a little go at WWE?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if you could find it.
I'm seeing something about his. Might have been last week's show because I'm not seeing this week's show.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Something about creative.
LAX, Jake Hager, who used to be Jack Swagger, and Guevara, Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
That's the stable. And when he was introducing Jake Hager, or Hagar, as he called it, to the live crowd, they were chanting "We the People," and Jericho said something along the lines of "We the People" was a bad idea from the start. It came from bad creative. So
yeah, and it's dead.
And it's dead.
This is done. We're not doing that anymore, basically.
Yeah. He says that, but I swear to God, he's done it on his MMA matches.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he used to do that all the time. But I guess they tell him that. Yeah.
Can't be that bad if he's doing it outside of WWE. In fact, I'm sure I might be wrong here, but I'm sure he was selling his own T-shirts
with the hand on.
With the hand on,
yeah. Yeah, he was, but I guess the company, AEW wants to separate itself. So probably the right move, I guess.
I don't know. I think it got people interested. It was something cool to do, I suppose.
It did, but TNA was really bad for just taking things that other people have made.
Yeah,
and I can see if they want to do their own thing now and kind of, brand him their own way. I can understand that.
The main event of AEW last week, or this past Wednesday, was Jericho, who's undefeated, by the way, going up against what's his name? All In Darby Allin. Darby All In Allin, and the match pretty much ended with Jericho duct taping Darby Allin's arms to his back, and then Jake Hager came out and clobbered him. And Jericho was able to put on the walls of Jericho to retain.
You're overlooking Allen's hands tied behind the back offense. He was great with his hands tied behind his back.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah, he was pretty much like an Orange Cassidy.
Pretty much.
Leaping around everywhere.
Yeah, that was really impressive.
I pretty much captioned this with duct tape. Are you serious? Really? Duct tape?
There was also
duct tape in WWE years ago.
Batista, I think, wasn't it? Or was he taped?
He was
Cena on
it? Cena won the match.
That's right. It was the last man standing match, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah, he taped him around the post.
Yeah.
So if Seth Rollins does that to Bray Wyatt, you can't stop him. Match can't be stopped for any reason whatsoever. So the crowd could be upset for even duct tape.
Thanks for reminding me of that match, I think.
No problem.
We also had a Lucha Brothers match in the tag tournament with, it was supposed to be Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, but Luchasaurus has torn his hamstring or something pretty serious. Which I thought might have been just to get him out of a losing match. They want to protect him, but turns out he's legit. And they put Marco Stunt in.
No.
And Marco Stunt is tiny. I mean, Jungle Boy's pretty tiny, but Marco Stunt's like half his size.
He's like 4 foot, prepubescent
Right, he looks like a 9-year-old. It's unbelievable. Yeah. But he was great. This match turned out to be really good.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, but I don't like seeing children getting beat up on TV. There's something wrong with that.
Oh, I love it.
That's what you tuned in for.
Yeah.
I saw JR get a little bit of stick on Twitter for something he said during that match. They call him, I can't remember what I did see a tweet. I'm trying to find it.
He keeps calling him Jungle Jack. Is that what?
Oh,
that was it. Yeah.
Jungle Boy Jack. Yeah, Jungle Boy
Yeah,
Jack.
He loves that.
I'm the only one that calls him that.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, stop saying that. It's not his name.
And he said, like, so when he's 30, are you still going to call him Jungle Boy? Which, yeah. I mean, if you call Shawn Michaels the Heartbreak Kid forever, deep into his 50s, if the Dudley Boys are still the Dudley Boys, or if, I guess X-Pac isn't the 1, 2, 3 Kid anymore. But
he answered it on his podcast. He said, he's a great kid, very athletic, and I've been calling him Jungle Boy Jack Perry since day one. Yeah. That's like I call Steve Austin the Texas Rattlesnake or the Rock the Brahma Bull. They're just nicknames that come to my head and sometimes they stick. But for God's sake, is it a peaceful offence to say Jungle Boy Jack Perry?
Well, but it's backwards though. When you have Steve Austin and you call him the Texas Rattlesnake, that's a nickname on top of his actual name.
Yeah.
He goes by Jungle Boy, and you're using his shoot name.
Yeah.
That's different.
It's like calling Mankind Mick Foley.
Right. He's not being Mick Foley at that point.
Right.
What he said later kind of does make sense. He said, I'm trying to give Jungle Boy even more personality. He's going to be a player. What is he going to do when he's 35? Is he still going to be Jungle Boy or Jungle Man or Jungle Boy Jack? I don't know what he's going to be, but in my mind's eye, I'm giving you all I can, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense what he's saying, but...
But again, Chuck's offered a good counterpoint, like Heartbreak, Dudley Boys, and all that. Real quick, speaking of AEW,
the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, he's like 80 now, right?
He's almost dead.
Still the Nature Boy.
I'm kidding.
That's twice you've nearly killed Ric Flair tonight.
That's right. Better get the belt back on Charlotte.
Anyway, real quick on this.
Is he 17-time champion now on that graphic?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've raised the bar on him.
They've raised the bar on Charlotte just to keep Flair alive.
See if you can spot what's wrong with this screenshot during this match here from AEW Dynamite, and I'm sure you'll be able to pick it out without a problem.
What have we got here?
Hashtag?
Yeah. What's wrong with
Mox
it?
Impact versus Page and Omega.
What's wrong with it, Will?
Hands break hashtags.
Bingo! Bingo! There it is. There we are. Yeah, I was like, somebody tell Keith Mitchell in the truck that's not how hashtags work. That honestly seems like a TNA mistake.
Yeah.
And they went to commercial and they came out of commercial and they still didn't bother to fix it. It was stupid.
What the hell? It's just going to be hashtag Mox, and I guess you can write the rest if you want.
Yeah, also, back with AEW now, was he? I'm guessing.
I would assume so. He was tagged up with, obviously Ambrose, if you can tell, Moxley, excuse me, from that hashtag. There was also this, where they used to have the corner cam down by like the turnbuckles to get some like really cool shots, but now they placed it on the actual corner
on the top. Yeah,
it was reminiscent of like when WWE did it. You just see like people's backs or shoes here from Daniel Bryan, if you will. So there's that. I wasn't too crazy about that. Also, in the main event of the street fight with Jericho and why can't I?
Daniel Bryan won't make me laugh.
Yeah,
Darby Allin.
Darby Allin, yeah, him. Somebody had a submission on somebody else, and then they reached for the rope, and it was an actual rope break in a street fight.
Nice.
Yeah, no DQ.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that doesn't work.
No, that doesn't work for me, brother.
Speaking of Jericho, I think the worst point of Dynamite this week was his promo. Not his promo. His promo was fine, but whichever one of LAX was shouting the best,
The best,
the best,
the best,
the best,
the
the
best,
best,
Foo Fighters.
the best of
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yeah, the Foo Fighters.
He really killed it, and I have a feeling
best,
Jericho might have had a word with him later.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like that, I kind of liked it because it was a reference to the Foo Fighters song of the best, the best, the
Yeah.
best. But other than that, yeah, that was, I don't know. He was also biting. I think it was the same guy that was biting the rope.
Biting the rope. Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah. Sure.
That's what crazy people do. They bite.
Right? Yeah.
I think Nikki Cross used to bite the rope.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know if Crazy Steve used to do it. Probably.
Probably. But yeah, Dynamite wasn't too bad. It could have been a little bit better. It's still just hovering above the 1 million viewer mark for TNT, and it's still crushing NXT by like 250,000. So I mean, there's that as well. But as long as they keep putting on a good show, I'll keep watching. But as soon as I'm like, okay, Vince Russo's having a hand in this, I'm out. I'll take back my Wednesdays. Thank you.
I think the best part of the show was the Cody Rhodes video.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the non-wrestling parts of the show more than anything else. As good as the wrestling is, I just like the personality stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
And that was really well done, all except for DDP's impression of Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, I just don't like the fact that they're angling me to care about Cody Rhodes needs to solidify his legacy. No, he doesn't. He doesn't need the title to solidify anything. That's a horrible take. I don't need, the CEO of the company that he works for to win the AEW championship to solidify a legacy that he hasn't really, started with the company that he's in.
Well,
it doesn't sit well to me. It's giving me like Triple H vibes that he has to win the title to put himself over because he's got an ego.
Kinda, but also he's a really big deal in wrestling right now, but he is still Cody Rhodes.
Right.
People know him as that mid-card guy who was in the Legacy and was Randy Orton's whipping boy for a while. And,
yeah.
He's done well for himself and everything, but is he a world champion? Is he of that level now? So I can kind of understand that he wants to be, if you can see it from inside the bubble, it kind of makes sense for his character to want to prove himself. I mean, obviously, he is in the Triple H position now, and you really want to put yourself over is a bad thing to do as a booker, but I get it.
Also, shout out to whoever had the Ted Turner fat head in the crowd. That was also a pretty good highlight. I enjoyed seeing that all throughout the night.
Yeah.
Don't know if you saw on Cody's Twitter, if we can throw that up.
Sure.
Nice little touch. They've renamed the gorilla position. It's now the Dusty
position.
Oh, okay. That sounds a little bit weird out of context, but I like that.
And they put a little plaque in his cowbell up in the area.
How long before someone uses that bell as a weapon in a street?
Oh my god. He uses it as like a part of a submission, and then they reach for the ropes, and then they have to call for the rope break. I still don't understand how people still get that wrong. Like, even in a different company, like, you gotta have some common sense with rope breaks in a no DQ type of environment. Like, it's honestly not that hard.
But if that's, I suppose it's not even like it was the finish.
Right.
It's like, if you don't break it, then what do you do to get out of it? If it's not going to be the finish, then you need another way to get out of the hold.
Exactly.
And it's not like you can go back 3 weeks and book a different stipulation that allows for rope breaks. So in that moment, does the referee go, I want to find a way out of this, I'll counter it instead, or like,
Crawl out of the ring.
But how do you convey that? The referee has to go, no,
crawl out of the ring, stupid.
Yeah.
I think what was Aubrey Edwards is the referee in the main event. She's really good, by the way. I like her. But
oh my god, everyone keeps saying this. Like the announcers, every match they have to say she's one of the best we got. By the way, yeah, I know she's a woman. It's unusual that she's a referee.
Well, it's not that, but if you like, she was just like starting up as a referee, and then like she got picked up by AEW immediately. That was the thing. So she hasn't been around in this business, if you will, for a long time.
That was probably better than DDP's. In the business, if you will. You're just saying it with a bit of a lisp.
Yeah, she's picked up on certain things very quickly, so that's why I like her. She kind of is like one of the background pieces in a match, but like she doesn't like put herself over or anything like that. It's fine. What they're doing with her is fine. But yeah, she could have just easily said, "Crawl out of the ring, dummy." There's no rope breaks. So, and honestly, the main event was fine. So, go ahead. Sorry.
Just I haven't seen this week's anyway. Just going back to WWE and the draft. They kept going to these these draft setups that when they're young and. The other panel that they do on the kickoff shows.
Yeah.
I thought Samoa Joe was pretty good doing that kind of thing.
I hate the fact that they, when they picked Samoa Joe, they didn't immediately cut to the desk to get his reaction.
Well,
I had something queued up for that. And I was like, oh, they never did.
Yeah, that's a wasted opportunity. But yeah, I thought he was. I don't know if maybe he's thinking of going that way eventually or doing some that kind of thing, but
I mean,
I thought he was pretty good off.
He definitely came off pretty professional, yeah.
Yeah. I know he's injured, which is why he's doing it, but...
Yeah, he had that pink cast on his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I mean, he might be lining himself for an opportunity with like a backstage gig by doing something like that. So I mean, it's nothing out of the ordinary, if you will. But yeah, I thought he was quite well. I would much rather have him. He could be like, the next David Otunga on the panel or something like that when his in-ring career is over.
The next David Otunga.
I don't...
High bar.
I'm sorry. All right, the next Jerry Lawler. How about that?
Probably too high.
Yeah.
Better.
Also, Jerry Lawler. Yeah, Lawler's run on... I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, what are we thinking? I know we're only 2 weeks in, but what are we thinking of the new?
Unnecessary. I could just deal with Vic and Dio.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think, I don't know what it is. Vic Joseph's worked with Dio longer, but he seems to talk to King more.
Yeah.
When he's in the middle of the match, he says he always seems to direct stuff at King more.
Oh, what was the thing? Oh, I remember. Yeah, it was the match with Andrade, and King had like a really shit pun for like.
King with a shit pun. Sure,
yeah, right. He said something like, "Does he have a father named Mario Andrade?" I was like, "Oh." Monday Night Raw doesn't need this. The company's in bad shape as it is. We don't need shitty puns on the show.
He actually said on his podcast recently that he doesn't like doing commentary anymore.
I wonder why.
He said it's too stressful. He said you don't enjoy the show. You've always got Vince in your ear. And he said he didn't like it. But apparently at the end of the first Raw together, literally as they went off air, Vince came in the rear to the three of them and said, "You did a good job." Which is apparently it's unheard of to get Vince to give you a compliment. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think as you say, I think it'd be better if King wasn't there.
Dio also said something referring to Ricochet, saying something about with the greatest of ease. I was like,
Yeah, he
all
did.
right, Booker.
He said that a few times actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Eric
I
Young. We
feel like
talked about
we've missed something out, but I think we have.
Lana getting blacked by Bobby Lashley. There's that. There's that going
Wow.
on. Am I wrong?
And Mike
You're not
Kanellis
wrong.
leaving.
Yeah, apparently doesn't like
Yeah.
getting cucked on worldwide television. Who knew?
Imagine.
Yeah, Mike's leaving, but Maria isn't, apparently.
Yeah.
How's that going to work?
I don't know. There's some parallel to be drawn about how she was leaving the relationship when he wasn't, or something like that. That, you know what I mean? Something about the storyline coming to life. She's leaving him behind.
Yeah.
Apparently, she's cool with it. She said, go do your thing. You want to work somewhere else and make something of yourself. And it's cool. I'll stay here and make some money.
So I mean, we don't get it, and we won't get it. But did you see any of this WWE backstage?
Oh yeah.
Did that come
no
in?
CM Punk here?
No, I didn't see it, unfortunately. Also, SmackDown this upcoming Friday is going to be on Fox Sports 1 because of the World Series on Fox itself. So we're 3-4 weeks in, and they're already getting bumped to a different network. So there's that. So much for making SmackDown the A show. Already doing the job to baseball. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else from WWE that you guys want to bring up.
Yes, there was a tweet just a minute ago.
Yeah, all right.
From Xavier Woods.
Oh boy.
Now he claims to be a PhD, but he has written here. He's tweeted out for the world to see that the Sega Saturn is the best console ever made.
Saturn. Wow.
Right?
That's a...
the precursor to the PlayStation. Sure.
Well, the Dreamcast.
Dreamcast, that too.
Yeah, which actually is the best console ever made.
Now.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Dreamcast. I'm sorry. Yeah, Sega Saturn.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
Not even close.
I don't let you pick a Dreamcast either.
That's like saying I had a good fucking association for this. It's like saying something's the Alicia Fox versus Melina is the greatest match of all time, or something.
No.
Like that.
Oh, she's retired apparently as well.
Oh yeah, she wasn't drafted.
Retired.
Oh, Alicia
she's now
Fox,
listed on the alumni page on .com. So she's gone.
I don't know. I had something else, but it went out of my brain. But yeah, it's... I don't know. The Saturn, no. Dreamcast, I would be like, alright, that's fine. But Sega Saturn, no.
I'm not sure about Dreamcast. I didn't have one, so maybe I'm a bit biased.
Fair enough.
I guess, like, these days, that was 20 years ago, and it's got good gaming memories. I guess, things are so powerful now, and they do other stuff that, Xbox One or whatever is probably a better thing to have. But in terms of innovation and stuff, Dreamcast, man, it was a good time. Good time to be alive.
One other thing before we get out of here. NWA Power. Have you watched any of that?
I did see a clip. Yeah, I saw the show, about 10 minutes of it.
Yeah.
It looks like they've got the old school theme down to a T.
Yes. Very much so. I saw both the first episode and the second episode. The first one's pretty good. Pretty much you have, like, from what I remember, there was, like, some fat guy that's like, "Where's Storm? I want Storm," and he's referring to Tim Storm, the old vet going up against Nick Aldis, formerly Magnus in TNA, for the NWA Heavyweight Championship, 10 pounds of gold title. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, the fat guy that was like, I want Storm gets James Storm instead. And that was pretty fun.
Really?
Yeah, and James Storm just like pretty much squashes him. It was great. Um, yeah, Nick Aldis and Tim Storm was actually a pretty good match, considering the short term story build that they had to like new viewers for the YouTube community and whatnot. It was pretty much well done. They got me to care, be a little bit invested in the match. Like, even though I know the old guy's probably not going to win the championship because that's just how it goes. They did a pretty good job on making me care. Brian Hebner, I was hoping Beans was here. I was hoping Beans would have been here because Brian Hebner is also one of the refs for NWA,
Really?
and he's still got those damn Reebok sneakers with like the colored soles, and they actually blend in with the canvas. And I was hoping to get him on here, and I could just be like, so what do you think about this, Beans? What do you think about Brian Hebner here, being part of this organization? So, yeah, the first couple episodes pretty good. Definitely, if you got the time. I mean, they were both an hour long, or relatively an hour long, and it just flies by. Honestly, it's pretty good. I've never really grown up on the old school territory stuff, but going off of what you said, Will, with the whole old school factor with studio wrestling, which is a weird genre to classify it as, but it looks really well done. It looks great. Hopefully, it does look like they're going to try to get some sort of TV deal out of it, and we'll see what happens from there, you know?
I think even The Rock tweeted.
Yeah, he put over Jim Cornette, yeah. Even though Jim Cornette said he had like nothing to do with it, he was just there to call the matches, but yeah, he really solidified the thing. And in fact, at the beginning of the second episode, they had like a whole bunch of tweets and such, you know, people praising the company from like YouTube and Twitter. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So is it? I assumed it was like filmed a while ago, but I'm guessing it's not. Is it like recent?
It's somewhat recent. I think they taped it this summer. I think the new tapings are going to be in December, where they're going to be doing it like before or after the pay-per-view, I would assume, which they're also
That's right, they got a pay-per-view going,
yeah, and they sold it out, and the only way you can watch it through the Fight TV gimmick or whatever, or something like that. So there you go.
My my wrestling claim to fame is I've stood next to Nick Aldis at a urinal.
There you go.
Yeah. I had a piss with him.
Oh yeah, you were also on some of the Impacts in the UK in the front row. I remember that.
He was a gladiator. He was on the reboot of Gladiators.
Oh yeah.
That's where he came from, really, because he was a bit of a unknown, and he kind of got known through become the reboot of Gladiators, and then
that's why he was Brutus Magnus, the Gladiator.
Yeah. That's right, that was his name, man.
And also, I think another Gladiator was Mason Ryan, right?
That's it was.
He was Spartan or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of like past recognizable names, like I said, Magnus, James Storm, Trevor Murdoch was on this past week's episode. Damian Sandow, who's now going by Aaron Stevens, he pretty much had a pretty good promo. Eli Drake, he's there. There's a couple other ones too. What's his face? I think Homicide and the other guy, the unhinged
Hernandez?
Guy. No, not Hernandez. The unhinged guy.
The unhinged guy.
Eddie Gilbert. Yeah. Not Eddie Gilbert. No.
Probably Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston. That's it. Yes. Thank you. Not Eddie Gilbert.
Eddie Gilbert.
Where did I pull that from? Holy shit. That's really
74.
Yeah, that's really old school. God damn. Yeah, he was pretty good too on the first episode as well. So do check it out. I approve of it whenever you got the time. New episodes every Tuesday for sure. So
yeah, from what I've seen, it's only 10-15 minutes, but from what I've seen, it was really good. So yeah.
So there you go. Anything else you guys want to add before we get out of here? We're kind of running a little bit long, but we haven't done a show last week, so.
bit of mildly interesting news.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure you're all aware of Pro Wrestling Tees, the website.
Might have heard of it.
CM Punk has been on there for quite a while, since he left WWE, really. He's been selling t-shirts through there. Sometime last week, and not quite sure when, but all of the shirts were taken down.
Really?
And there's now a single shirt available for sale for $19.99, with the slogan "CM Punk sucks."
Really?
So I don't know whether they had a falling out with Pro Wrestling Tees or there's something afoot.
Well, I would just. Oh wow.
It's a pretty crap t-shirt.
I could literally replicate that in Photoshop.
Well, yeah,
right now.
yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't pay $20 for that.
Here. What the hell? What do they do? Why would they do something like this? I know there was like a representative of like Pro Wrestling Tees like a while back that was just being a complete ass clown on Twitter, and it really like soiled my fucking opinion on them. I was like, oh, okay, well this is how you're gonna be, then go fuck yourself. Whatever. But
a lot of people are making the assuming that he's going to WWE or AEW, but AEW sell their merch on there anyway.
Yeah.
And Ric Flair, Austin, and Hogan sell shirts through there.
Right.
So it can't be anything to do with going to somewhere else, because obviously others are doing it. So.
Yeah, that's weird. I really want to know what caused that.
Yeah, unless you had a falling out with the site itself, people behind it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think I can. Here, real fast. I think I can replicate this here. I don't know if I have a monitor capture. I don't think I do.
He also did an AMA on Reddit.
Yeah.
Day before yesterday, and the question obviously came up. Were you coming back to WWE? And I think he said something about it'll have to be a big bag of money if it did.
I mean, that's not a bad idea to have, or whatever.
Well, I heard big bag of money and immediately thought Crown Jewel. So.
Ha!
That means he's there. It's on.
That's pretty
CM
good.
Punk return confirmed.
Yeah, we just confirmed CM Punk's return to wrestling. Everybody, there you go. All right, watch how quick this can be here. Okay, so we've got CM Punk.
It's out. Yeah.
There we go. Just italicize that. I believe this is Diamante. Diamante, or close to it. Yeah, that's good enough. And then we can. Let's see. Is this bold? No, it's unbold. All right. So what we'll do is just do something like that. Just stretch it out a bit. And hold on. I don't know what I'm doing. Hold on. And then we'll make this say sucks. Drag this down. Oh, I said ducks. Whoops. You know what? Sure, ducks. Whatever. Okay, that works.
CM Punk ducks.
Yep, ducks.
I should apologise for the coffee.
$20. $20, please. Pay us $20. Yeah. Pretty please. There you go. Done. That's how you do it. That's how you be a professional fucking t-shirt company on the internet. Close enough. That's honestly what they did. I know it's not Diamante, but it's a font close enough to it, so whatever.
That'll work.
Yeah. Anyway, I think I might have killed something because it doesn't seem like. Oh yeah, it says offline, or whatever. Oh no, we're back. I think we're back. Hold on. I think I might have killed something. I think the Photoshop was too much for the stream there. We're back. So you might not have seen that. Somebody might have hit the Bonnie button or whatever. Whatever button on YouTube. Susan button, I guess. Anyway.
Susan button.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Anyway. I do believe that's going to be it for us. We'll be back next week, hopefully without any more technical issues or anything like that. With
maybe we'll have Beans back next week as well.
Yeah, for real, that'd be great. Check out the past episodes. Binge listen to us. Kill out an hour of your day if you want. Yeah.
Where is he, by the way? Is he wrong with him?
Pardon?
What's wrong with him? Where is he this week?
He said you gave him the germs.
Oh, did he? He did. Yeah, he said on Twitter, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
Oh well.
Anyway, we'll be back next week with the Crown Jewel prediction game and who knows what else with WWE doing stupid stuff and more NWA power.
I think we should stop doing wrestling.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if WWE goes belly up, I mean that's pretty much it.
Let's do a Brexit special.
Well, we'll plan to do that for Halloween, but it might end up being a few months later.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.